Cassidy, and myself, and the record will show that Mr. Podak was absent at the time we began the meeting. We should have the previous minutes. Have you had an opportunity to review those? They came by email. Here's a copy of them.
Oh. Yeah, it was in my package.
We need all three members to approve those.
No.
No? Okay.
No, yeah,
Okay. So you'll make a motion?
I shall.
Okay. Mr. Cassidy moves to approve the minutes of the October 15th meeting. The record will show that Mr. Podak entered the meeting at 5:33. And Mr. Podak, we were just approving the previous meeting's minutes. We have a motion on the floor by Mr. Cassidy. Have you had an opportunity to review them? Would you care to second that motion?
I'd second it.
Okay. And on roll call, Mr. Cassidy,
Yes.
Mr. Podak,
Yes.
and myself as a yes. Previous meeting minutes are approved. Open issues? Mr. Dandrian?
I do not have any open issues unless you had questions from last week's work session.
No, I did not. Anybody else on the committee? Question from last week's work session or anything?
No.
Okay. Open issues? Mr. Mayor? Mr. Keckler?
No open issues.
Okay. On to new business. Mr. Danderian.
Provided you with October's ending cash balance. It's 21.4 million. That's the number we reconcile to. That's how we know we balance. Of that 21 million, we allocated into the various funds, which is the second report. So 12 million of the 21 million is in the general fund. That's important to note because the general fund allows us the most flexibility in terms of how we can spend the money. If you turn back to page 5 of 6 of that report, you'll see our 3 enterprise funds, the water, the sewer, and the stormwater management fund. And those balances are 200,000, 790,000, and $500,000 respectively. So it's the water fund that continues to be our challenge in terms of being in fiscal watch. The total of all those funds equals $21 million, which is what we have at the bank. Of the 21 million, we have outstanding purchase orders of 4.4 million. So we have available unallocated at this point 17 million. Not included in the encumbered is we never issue purchase orders for wages and benefits. And then the third report is our year-to-date, month-to-date revenues. What we're looking for is anything over 82%. And the real estate property tax is 100% complete. We did generate 106% compared to what we had estimated. We are ahead of budget finally on the income tax. All year long, we've trailed slightly behind or right on, but we're now actually ahead of our projection a little bit. There are really no areas of strong concern in the general fund. So pages 1 and 2 are all the different revenue items within the general fund. Page 2 or page 3 is the taxes we receive from gasoline tax, motor vehicle tax. So that those show up in funds 201, 202, and 203. So those are all on page 3 of 5. And again, there's no items within those revenue generating items that are of concern at this point. Now, I did not print you the revenue for all of the special revenue funds. There's probably another 20-some funds, but again, they're special revenue, specific purposes. A lot of times they're grants. So there's really no ups and downs to them. They're fairly easy to forecast because of their nature. I do show you, though, the enterprise funds on page 4 and 5. 501 is the water fund, and looking at our water revenue, we're running behind what we had forecast, but we knew we were going to. So because we did not implement the rate increase until July. Actually, it ended up being August by the time it gets into the rates themselves. So, and you'll see the same thing in the sewer revenue, which is on page 4 of 5 towards the bottom. Very last line item. Year to date, we've received 2.4 million. We're running at 70% of expected. And again, we should be at 82, 83%. So outside of that, no real concerns with how we're operating financially. We seem to have a pretty good handle on it. As noted, though, in the fiscal recovery plan and what you look at in tonight's budget, we're investing $9 million next year in capital items. So we have a lot of infrastructure and capital needs that we're still playing catch up on and have been for the last few years and probably will continue that path going forward. So take any questions?
Were you going to cover the sewer increase during the regular portion of the meeting?
Yes, I can, or I can do that now, or
It doesn't matter. I just wanted to make sure that we went over that this
yeah,
evening.
we can go over it.
During the regular meeting
Sure.
would be fine. Okay, that's it for you. We'll move on to the mayor. Any new business? Mr. Keckler,
No new business for me, thank you.
any comments or concerns, miscellaneous items from the rest of the committee?
Just, it's not big money or anything, but, page, 3 of 5 on the revenue report.
Okay.
I see it's the 201, actually it's not, it's 202 State Highway.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That's only at 52%. We're, realistically, we should be, is that money just not coming in, or is it not gonna come in?
So the other income, what happens is, to the extent we need to balance this fund, we transfer from streets into here,
Okay.
and we haven't had to transfer as much. So it's the other income number that's not where it's needs to be. It's only at 38%, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. What it's saying is we're not spending well above our means in this fund, the dollars we've allocated in here, so we don't have to transfer as much from the Fund 201.
It's not really a loss of revenue.
Right. It's just how we have to show it coming into the fund.
Okay.
Good question.
And then, on the, the water and sewer, when we were doing the budget stuff, how is the interest allocated that we earn as a city from,
Yeah, we cannot, by law, allocate interest to the enterprise funds. So there's no, the interest we generate, even on their fund balance, I mean, we have, what, $1 million or more? That interest stays within the general fund. It does not get allocated back to the enterprise funds by law. It'd been nice. We'd love to do that. Anything we can do to keep them healthy, but
I'm
we're
going
not
to
permitted.
continue to
so
complain
we
about.
can't, yeah, so we can't, even though there's money in those two funds, water and sewer, that's actually out there earning interest, it cannot be allocated back to those particular funds.
Correct. Don't ask me why.
I'm probably going to whine about that for a long time.
It's a fair question. I don't know what, I don't know what the intent of the law was on that, to be honest with you. I don't know.
Well,
My-
can you allocate other income to those funds?
They need to stand on their own. That's what you got to
Well,
remember
But that,
as we
that
operate.
investment money is standing on their own.
Can't
You know,
can't
I
disagree.
know I'm preaching
Yeah.
to the choir. I have a real problem with that. I think the state
We've
got
had
it
this
wrong.
discussion, that's why I ask and she's helping.
Yeah.
But I know we're battling probably an uphill battle.
No, I think the real question goes back to the legislators. What was the intent of why they did that? I do not know. I mean, it's been around probably longer than I've been around for sure.
It's kind of crazy because the opposite could be, it would be great to be the opposite, that the water and sewer funds had just buku money in them and all the interest stays in the general fund and none of it goes to that. But yet we charge fees for those services.
And there was a day back in 2014, 15, and 16 when the enterprise funds were quite healthy. The downside is the interest rates were quite low.
True. Thanks for
Sorry.
tolerating that. It's a legitimate frustration. Okay, any other comments from the committee?
Well, just to expound on that a little bit, I feel like it's a $30,000 question. Because if those funds don't reach what the state says they need to reach, then we have to stay in fiscal emergency and we have to pay the state $30,000. So that's why we're raising the water and sewer bills. We have to get those up there to save money, I guess. So I feel that, you know, people are going to have to pay more, but we've already did the survey and from other towns and areas, we're still low. So, and with that being said, the water tastes pretty doggone good. And I've always been a advocate if it didn't taste the best, I would leave you know, but I'm leaving you know the other way now.
Well, it tasted really good when we realized Tiffin's average bill was $90 a month. Just saying. I don't want to pay $90 a month for an outside source.
Betsville's even higher than that.
So, they outsource the service.
They probably outsourced that for what, 50, 60 years, something?
Privatized.
No idea.
I believe.
No idea.
That's it, I think.
Okay, if there's nothing else from the committee, we'll open the floor to the public for any comments related to the Finance Committee. Please state your name and address.
Can use the interest, because maybe there is something, there's always loopholes in everything. So has the state been contacted? Has anyone reached out? No, I don't expect the answer.
Well, it's like you already stated, it's a law right now, so it would have to be a law changed by them,
Right,
not us.
but are you guys allowed to call? Or would it have to be citizens?
Oh, we'll call.
Okay, good.
Anyone else? Okay, if not, I will advise you that our next meeting will be Tuesday, December 17th at 5:30 PM in council chambers, and ask for a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
We are adjourned 5:46.